What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to an episode of Garage Talk Sports. I'm Mills.
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Nick.
And we are back in the garage again. Took a little bit of a week off. Just had a busy week going, but we are bringing episode number 93. Creeping up on 100 still. Bringing episode 93 to you guys. And as you can tell, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see from our get-ups here, repping baseball this week. It's all about baseball. Opening day happened this past week that happened. So we're going to obviously have a very baseball-heavy episode, but we are also going to cover the Final Four, March Madness. Final Four, men's Final Four is happening this weekend. Women's Final Four just happened, and the championship, I believe, is happening on Sunday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Not that we're going to talk about that too much, but it is going to be one of our hot spots.
I'll be honest, I don't even know who's in it.
It's LSU in Iowa.
Yeah. Jeez, Bobby.
Come on, Bob. Making us look bad on the show. It's okay. It's okay. That's whatever. But so we're going to talk about some March Madness stuff. Just obviously have to with the Final Four weekend here.
Yeah. Crazy March Madness.
Yeah. It's very entertaining March Madness, as always, every year. But this one more so, just because of how things have played out. So we'll cover a little bit of that, and then it's going to be heavy baseball for the rest of the episode. We will do what we have done every baseball season, our way too early MLB predictions, which we're going to go through the divisions and pick who we believe is going to be the division winners. And then we're going to go with regular season award predictions, just MVP and Cy Young. Not going to get into Rookie of the Year or, Silver Sluggers and all that. Yeah. That could have. If we did that, this episode would go on forever.
Yeah, and no one knows who the rookies are end up going to be.
Yeah, the only rookie
did call Julio Rodriguez whenever.
That is true. You did get that one right. I think Adley Rutschman is eligible as a rookie this year still. So he would be my favorite for Rookie of the Year if I had to guess. But it's just 2-1. That's the hardest one to predict because you don't know what's going to happen and what rookies are going to. It's just not as easy as to predict rookies in baseball. But like I said, we will kick off with our hot spots. Any volunteers to go first this week? I'm going to save mine for last because it'll kind of flow right into the rest of the episode.
I'll go first because mine's not super current, but it's kind of current. So third highest paid Red this year because, they traded a lot of their guys. Pretty much Jonathan India is their focal point, and he's a rookie or 2 years into the league. Ken Griffey Jr. is their third highest paid player, which is wild because I don't think he's played baseball since 2010 or 2011.
I believe 2008 is when he was traded or left the Reds. So that's one of those extended buyouts then.
Yeah.
Like Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah.
Bonilla, however you say his name.
Yeah, but at least normally with those extended buyouts, they're usually still
they're only $1 million or two.
At least the MLB roster, that 25 on opening day are usually the higher than those guys. But nope, not Ken Griffey Jr. Third. I think it's Joey Votto, Hunter Green, and then Ken Griffey Jr.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's brutal. That's a discouraging number for the Reds. If you're a Reds fan, remember when the Reds a couple years ago were playing their way into a potential wild card spot, and here we are thinking the Reds are going to be up on the up and up, making a run possibly for the Central.
And then they traded everyone.
Yeah, and then every piece of that team that was a huge part of their success gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know what the deal is with the Reds, but I would be disappointed if I was a Reds fan for sure.
What did they get in return for Luis Castillo?
Justin Dunn, relief pitcher. They got, oh my gosh, who's the other? Novelli Marte, shortstop, fielder. So it's
I don't know.
You're getting pieces, but not pieces for the next couple of years, which I guess kind of makes sense because they're trying to go for a full rebuild.
But I don't know. He's such a good pitcher.
Oh yeah,
he's a stud. He dealed on day one.
Yeah,
he did.
Dealed on day one. Dealed for all last half of the year.
The Mariners have
that was a great acquisition by the Mariners.
Oh, it's solid.
That was I think one of the best moves at the trade deadline last year.
Again, it doesn't make sense to me why some of these teams,
I wanted the Sox to go get him.
The White Sox haven't made moves in the past couple of years. Other teams have just failed to make moves, and it's
some teams are comfortable sitting on their hands, and those teams tend not to get much done when it comes postseason time.
Well, that's how the Mariners were 4 or 5 years ago. They were 1 or 2 games out of making it, and they just didn't trade for a big bat. It's we need a big left-handed bat. Now we'll get in the postseason or get in the offseason. Oh, we missed the playoffs by a half game. Okay, you could have got one at the trade deadline,
right?
And we would have won one more game. Sure. I guarantee that trade would have made one more deal. Nope, not going to do it.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you're a fan of a team that takes that approach because, the Cubs are a similar thing.
Or completely blow it up.
The Cubs, in their situation, to be honest, let me know if you disagree with me, but I feel like they blew up their roster for no reason a few years ago.
Yeah, no,
They just went and
yeah.
blew it up. Like they just decided they weren't going to. It was the Darvish trade.
Yeah,
Made no
that
sense to me. It
started
was just
it
like
off.
we're going to go for a rebuild when we really don't have to. Like we had pieces to still be a good team. They were fresh out of a playoff run.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
they were.
right before that.
in 2019. Yeah,
Yeah. So
Like-
and then like they just decided, oh, we had a down year in 2020 because they missed the playoffs in 2020.
yeah, because the shortened season,
And they just were like, that's it.
then trade you Darvish. and then
2027's our window.
And
I
then-
don't know what that was.
You wait until the last day and trade your three big pieces, Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez, all on the same day. Yeah, that was
Well,
that
they
was-
won out on no. They were good, smart to dump Baez. He's proven to be garbage.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad.
Moving
hindsight
on from
that-
him was a good move.
and
Yeah.
Chris Bryant really too. He hasn't really amounted to much.
Rizzo's
Like,
the only one who's stayed consistent. since
Yeah,
Labor.
no, like, and it sucks to see him go, but you know what? It's
That happened. I mean,
It happened.
seeing as the magic ran out for some of those guys, maybe they, in hindsight, you could look back and go, oh well, they kind of saw this coming.
yeah,
They guys in their clubhouse just like these dudes are they're up to regress hard. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And
'cause,
they,
like-
they could have predicted it. I think they just kind of got freaked out by an underwhelming 2020 year and just were like, this roster's
Yeah,
not
we're
it.
done.
yeah, because really the pitching, like other than you, Darvish and Kyle Hendricks, like you had no one. Like
Yeah, but they made some moves this offseason. Bobby, one of
did.
your
Yep.
favorite acquisitions happens to
Dan-
be your hot spot. Let's
Yep.
hear it.
Dan's baby Swanson through 2 games has 5 hits, batting .750 on the season. I love the signing, man. He is honestly one of my favorite shortstops besides Trevor Story. If I like,
That's fair. You've always been a Trevor Story
Yeah,
guy. I like to harp on you for your fair weather fanning.
no,
I'll give you the Trevor Story one.
I've
You've always been on Trevor
yeah,
Story.
exactly.
Pretty sure that's why 27 is your favorite number. Almost
Yep,
positive.
Yep,
Yep, okay.
exactly.
100%.
100% because
I
Trevor
knew it.
Story.
I know you too well, Bob.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's for being friends for what, like 20 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it'll do.
So 27 years of friendship, Bobby's going to go crazy.
But yeah, no, he's doing really good, and it's looking like that was a great move to pay him a lot of money and come into this roster.
Yeah, and obviously, keep in mind throughout this episode, everybody, we're 3 games into the season, so
yeah,
obviously everything's going to sound super exaggerated,
yeah. But
the early optics look good because I could talk about Yoan Moncada and how he's so far starting as just as hot as Dansby Swanson,
Yeah.
which is huge for the White Sox because that's a bat that they need going. It's just the Dansby Swanson move. It was a nice one. I think
Yeah.
it was big because it signaled that the Cubs were gonna not just sit on their hands like we
Yeah.
talked about
And-
teams do.
it wasn't 2027.
Yeah,
you know,
it
they
seemed
sped
like
up a little
it
bit.
seems like the Cubs, and I think part of it last year is because I think the Cubs last year performed better than expected.
Oh yeah, like,
And so that probably opens the eyes in their front office, and they say, "Oh, you know what? We actually could probably move up our window with a couple of acquisitions." So it's nice to see when teams do that. Obviously, I'm a fan of a team that sat on their hands for the most part at the deadline last year, as well as the offseason. However, I did like the Andrew Benintendi signing, so I'm not. They did make some moves, but not very many. They lost more than they brought in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Dansby Swanson looking good through 5 games or through
True.
2 games is
he's
pretty
looking
solid.
really good. My only complaint
hopefully-
about the Cubs
What's up?
is that Chris Morel was not on the starting lineup, or not like
I'm
on
sure
the
he'll-
MLB.
I'm
starting
sure
lineup.
he'll find his way there.
He will, but you know,
He'll get there.
he was like the biggest bright spot of last year. So yeah, but
Yeah,
But-
but they have to make room for because he's an outfielder, right?
he's a third baseman
Yeah.
originally, but they play him now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. He'll find his way onto the roster.
Yeah.
So my hot spot, I'll take it over here, and then we can roll into March Madness. So my hot spot is actually Caitlin Clark. From Iowa, point guard, I believe is what she's. I believe she's a
Yeah,
point guard.
should guard, whatever.
She's guard, obviously. But I just want to shout her out because I feel like she has, in a sense, kind of brought some energy and attention back to women's basketball, especially college basketball in particular.
And,
WNBA, I think, gets plenty of attention, even though they're going to say they don't, and fans of the league are going to say they don't. I see them all over social media. So the WNBA gets its coverage. March Madness for women's basketball, not so much. So it's just like seeing Caitlin Clark, she brings tons of energy, back-to-back 40-point games as well.
And-
I think first time that's happened in women's March Madness history. She's just a dog.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
it's cool to see someone bringing energy back to that sport because honestly, Nick and I watched the game last night, the end of it. That's probably the most time I've spent watching women's basketball my entire life. I will not lie. I watched the second half of the third quarter and the entire fourth quarter, and I've never watched more women's basketball than that in my entire life. Straight up, I'll be honest about it. And it was actually not that bad to watch. I will be entirely honest. It helps that you're watching two of the best teams in the country go against each other in that one with a 1 seed and a 2 seed.
Yeah.
But that game, I don't know what it was. It looked, and I've only seen WNBA highlights, mind you, so take this with a grain of salt. But it looked more athletic and like energetic than WNBA games. Am I wrong for saying that?
No, you're right. I mean, and I think a lot of the highlights that like most people will see from WNBA is usually when it's something like very unathletic happening. So it's like when you can see the step down. And I think people have always said this too. NCAA March Madness games always look so much more competitive than a regular season NBA game.
That's true.
Until you get to the finals, then you start to see that same level of tenacity on both sides of the court. But you never really have what college basketball has because it's one and done. If you lose, you're done. And there's just so much back and forth so quick.
Yeah, I think that's probably a big thing is just the vibe of the games and March Madness in general. But it was actually, I will admit, it was more entertaining than I expected it to be. We kind of threw it on because we just needed something on in the background while we were sitting around. And sure enough, we all kind of caught ourselves watching the game. And we're like, this is actually pretty solid. This is decent basketball being played. And my expectations were that it wasn't going to be, which maybe I'm wrong for that.
And shout out to Iowa because they suck at every other sport.
Yeah, Iowa. Nick, you have the stat.
Yeah,
you have the stat.
I want to shout out to my brother. I think he sent it to our group chat. He was saying so. Caitlin Clark in this postseason scored 5 more total points so far than Iowa's football team did in the entire year.
That's disgustingly
that is sad.
bad. That's so bad.
Yeah. And basketball, they score more points, but it's one
player shouldn't be doing that.
Team.
One player, and
I think it was 2. I think she had 235 points so far this postseason.
She's nuts, dude.
The Iowa had 230 all season.
She's absolutely nuts.
Was it 13 through 12 games?
Yeah, I think.
I don't think they were bowl eligible.
Yeah, no,
they had a bad. They were terrible.
Yeah, really
it was Kirk Ferentz's son was the offensive coordinator this year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that nepotism charge coming real quick after that really season. But no, just wanted to shout out Iowa women's basketball and Caitlin Clark, and keep an eye out this Sunday. I believe is the women's national championship for basketball. Iowa versus LSU. LSU, I believe, is the nation's #1 seed. Or was it South Carolina was the top?
South Carolina was. They won 42,
they were undefeated.
So they won 42 straight games.
Yeah, so it'll be a good one. We'll keep an eye out for what outfit the LSU coach is wearing. She wears some pretty flamboyant pantsuits.
Tomorrow, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, she was dressed like a flamingo for their win this past weekend.
Yeah. She's trying to just bring viewers to it.
Yeah,
now we're talking about
it. It's working. This is exactly what they wanted. Yep. But with that, we'll roll into men's March Madness now. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, it was also a very exciting March Madness. We haven't gotten to cover it too much just because that's just kind of how it's worked out. But
we took the week off.
So
because the madness was just too much.
The madness, I needed a straitjacket. I was locked in the room for a little bit until I calmed down. Basically, let's put it this way. My bracket shattered. Everyone's bracket, for the most part, shattered.
Well, Andrew's bracket was shattered.
My bracket was shattered first round.
Actually,
round 1.
After we filmed episode 92, I know Bobby will talk about it.
We filmed that episode, and then my bracket was shattered.
It was done.
We filmed that episode, and I even said, I probably shouldn't have picked Purdue, but I did anyways. And they proceed to lose to the 16 seed, second time ever. Farley Dickinson University, who I will give credit. They played a very good game, and they looked pretty solid in the next round as well.
They did.
They just fell victim to what every small school or 16 seed team falls victim to, and that is once they kind of get thrown off their rhythm, they're not good at improvising. Yeah. And that's the problem you run into with the low seeds. But
shout out to them.
Shout out to them busting my bracket
off of a $2 bet.
That's a big one.
You know what? I wish I bet more, man. I should have.
But-
That's always tough.
So
Yeah,
we
it
have
is,
our
like-
Final Four matchups: UConn versus Miami, who I believe Miami's in the Final Four for the first time in a long
Yeah,
time.
UConn is the only team out of these four that have
That's-
ever been in the Final Four.
That's me. Okay, that's what it was. So UConn versus Miami, and then San Diego State University versus FAU, Florida Atlantic University, for those who don't know.
East Coast versus West Coast.
East Coast versus West Coast. So we've got the Huskies versus the Hurricanes, and then San Diego State. What are they again? Aztecs versus the Owls.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. First of all, stupid name for a school in Florida.
I think they have a big owl population down there.
We'll have to look this up.
But here's my thing. Miami Hurricanes. When you think Florida, you think hurricane, especially
or like
southern tip.
flamingos. You know, like an animal.
Yeah,
like
you
flamingos, like
can
something
go eat.
tropical.
I was like Miami Flamingo. I'm like they're the Hurricanes, but yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. San Diego State Aztecs. You know, a lot of Native American and then Spanish settlers. Like that makes sense. But like Chicago Bears makes sense. There's Bears here. Green Bay
Is there
Packers.
bears in Illinois? I don't think there's
so.
bears in
Yeah,
Illinois.
I don't.
Maybe back in the day.
Yeah, back before skyscrapers were built in Chicago.
I don't know though. Listen, I like the Owls personally. I think it's a unique one.
No, yeah, I'm not saying
There's
that-
owls in Florida, all right? They have screeching owls in Florida. They have burrowing owls in Florida.
They probably have a zoo which has a lot of animals. I don't like
They
that.
have
I don't like
owls.
that logic.
I would rather them be the Owls than something played out that every other school has, like the Knights. I cannot stand how many schools out there just have Knights as their mascot. Be original.
Well, every day ends at night, so like, come on.
I like the Owls there.
No, I think it's a good. I was just saying. I'm like,
There could be a better animal
Yeah.
choice. I won't lie, but I think
FAU
it's good.
Flamingos.
It works.
FAU Flamingos would also be unique. I don't think there's any other team that's the Flamingos.
Yeah.
No, there's probably not.
That's just like there's no other team called the Nittany Lions. Yeah, it's weird. Weird fucking.
Yeah, or the Bolognese.
Or the Bolognese, yeah. I've never heard of the Bolognese until
Bring that back.
this past football season.
Listen, I don't know much about Tennessee. All right, I'm sorry. I'm not a Tennessee expert like you. All right,
I'm far from an expert. I just know that Bolognese isn't a thing. But no, so those are our matchups. It's just been a wild tournament. Honestly, I'm gonna
really
go
has.
ahead. We'll throw out a prediction here for our championship matchup. I'm saying it's UConn versus FAU for the title.
Ooh,
I'm going Miami FAU.
Miami FAU Battle of
I'm
Florida.
taking UConn. UConn has been
I
absolutely.
thought you said UConn and
UConn
UConn.
versus UConn.
No,
That's what
they
I
have
thought,
been
too.
absolutely dominating.
They-
They completely shut down Gonzaga.
Didn't they beat them by like 30 points or something? They beat the absolute
Dude,
piss
it
out
was
of them.
like 54 to like 80 something. It was
They sent Drew Timmy
ridiculous.
back to the offseason today.
Yeah,
Better luck in the draft this year.
exactly.
They
We'll
won
see. But,
82 to 54 was
Um,
against Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Imagine what UCLA would have done. Probably lost by a little less.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
For our boys over
For our
there.
boys, man,
But you're
we-
taking UConn and who?
UConn and San Diego State. San Diego State just looks solid, man.
They
Want to
I-
take a stab at what the UConn nickname is? What their mascot is?
Husky?
Yeah,
I said it already.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, also that
That would have been a
logo is
great.
big
That would have been.
husky,
That would have been gold though if Bobby got it wrong.
but their logo is a big husky, so it's like
That's fair.
that's hard to mess with.
I will admit, I kind of slept on San Diego State this entire tournament. I had them losing in round one. I just didn't expect much from them. But this has been quite the eventful March Madness, filled with
yeah.
like big ups, downs, and shocks and everything. Personally, to me, the biggest shock of this is that not a single one seed has made it to the Final Four. I think it's like the first time in what? So I'm going to say 7+ years that no ones have made it to the Final Four. I know the championship game has been played between a 1 and a 1 or a 1 and a 2 since like 2012, I believe, or 2013 maybe.
Which I mean that makes
No,
sense.
Or maybe-
because when Michigan made it to the final and they played against
Villanova wasn't
Villanova.
one.
Yeah, but I'm saying Michigan wasn't. Or you're saying there was just a 1 or a 2 seed?
There was always a
Okay.
1 seed was in.
Okay, that's what
yeah.
you're saying.
It was played between a 1 and a 1 or a 1 and something else. I'll
Okay,
say.
that would
I
be-
just know that a 1 has made it for the last like decade.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
me, it was surprising
Roughly.
with like how many upsets happen. I feel like normally
That's it.
that pushes the number 1 seeds easier. Like what I said when last time we were talking, I was like, I think Alabama has a good shot of just making it to the finals because Arizona lost to Princeton. You're thinking there's no way that Princeton could just shock everyone and beat Alabama. So it's like,
Princeton screwed me too. My bracket was over. My bracket was almost over after that game, and then it was totally over.
One day later, boom. But for me, it's just like it's crazy. The craziest thing for me is how close I was to possibly picking FAU because I had Memphis in the Final Four. I had Memphis. I had Memphis all the way. And I was like, well, so if I would have just said FAU and then just rode with the same thought process of, oh, that's a pretty solid game, they'll beat, and then just kept rolling through, I would have been great.
My biggest claim to fame for March Madness is when I sent Loyola to the Final Four that year.
That's solid.
And that was only because I was like, it's Loyola. I'm sending them as far as I can reasonably make up in my mind. I was so proud of that one.
Because of Sister Jean, man.
Yeah, Sister Jean, bro.
She's go crazy.
Team Chaplin.
No,
Bobby, what was your biggest shock?
Oh, dude, it was Farley Dickinson, man. That was just insane.
That was a big one.
I've been saying so I haven't really watched a lot of Purdue basketball, but I watched like 4 games throughout the season. And every time I watched them, they looked absolutely garbage. And they lost every time I watched them. And I watched them in the tournament. And
sure enough,
fails. They look like absolute garbage. So,
and worst part for Purdue fans is Bobby walked in and they were already losing at that point. Yeah. So it was coming back. Like if they were up 12, then they might have been able to hold it off because Bobby
over. It was over the second Bobby walked through the doors.
Straight downhill. And then, dude, it was just missing baskets the last.
They have no guard
minutes.
play at all.
Yeah.
And then Zach Edey, by the way, player of the year for men's college basketball this year.
Is he the Wooden player of the year? Or you're saying he should be?
He won.
Oh, he did. He won the Wooden.
He was the unanimous winner.
Well, he is that whole team.
So. Yeah. Only issue is that for whatever reason, every time he got the ball in the paint, he had to bring it down to his chest and had to do one dribble and go back up. Made no sense. We're not going to get into it. No. That was long ago. I've moved on. Yeah. But what do you think was a bigger upset? Virginia versus oh my gosh, what was the school?
UMBC
or this one?
This one.
Yeah, this one. It has to be because Virginia was a 4 seed going.
Virginia was a 1.
It was a 1.
I'm talking about when Virginia lost to UMBC back in what was that? 2019.
2016.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about.
It was 2016.
I think it was 2016.
No, it was because it was after 2016. I'm gonna say it was 2018 is when that happened.
Well, I guess that would be the
because I thought one. The thing was I thought Virginia was the true number 1.
March 16th, 2018.
Okay, so I thought Virginia was the true number 1, and they lost by 20 points.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
and then
74-54.
No, I thought you.
I did not see that. I swear. So to me, that one was bigger. One because it's the first time it ever happened, and just how much better UMBC looked than them at every phase.
Yeah.
And
this one I think was definitely more of a nail biter because it really went down to the final minute.
Yeah.
But in terms of bigger shock, watching UMBC take down the consensus number 1 team in the country and do it by a 20-point margin was huge. Now, if I had to choose which team I think is better on on paper, I think I'd go with FDU because they may had a much better showing in the next round.
Yeah. They almost won.
Yeah, they looked way better in the next round than UMBC did. I think UMBC used all of their magic in that one, whereas FDU looked like they were less of a fluke.
Yeah, to me, it was a bigger shock for FDU to win because when I look at teams like Virginia, it's not like they don't have that superstar player who's going to be a Wooden Award winner. They have guys who are good. They may make it to the draft, but it's just they play good, well-coached ball. Mm-hmm. So it's problem you have with that is if your shots aren't going down, you don't have that guy who can come in and just light it up
game
from 3.
Record, right?
You don't have guys like when UCLA had games where they can just come back from down points.
Yeah.
Or you have Jalen Suggs from Gonzaga where you just come in and score. If you have a 7'5" guy and you're going up against a small market school that doesn't have a guy who's over 240 pounds, you should win that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
FDU's ability to neutralize Zach Edey in the end of that game was huge.
It was.
Yeah.
Both of them were shocking in their own right, obviously, but I still think UMBC's was bigger just because of the way it happened. And also just looking at the odds in the betting and everything, Purdue was the most bets on a number 1 seed to lose in the first round ever with Purdue. So I feel like it was almost expected more from college basketball fans, whereas Virginia, that one was
everyone
just
knew Purdue was trash except for you.
Yeah.
Well, I prefaced with how I probably shouldn't have picked them. I want the record to show
But you did.
Yeah, I knew I was making a bad decision, but that's part of the experience is knowing what you're doing is wrong, and then you do it anyway. That's how you learn lessons.
Next year, fill out a women's bracket.
When you're 26, you probably should. If you think to yourself as a 26-year-old, I probably shouldn't do this, and then do it anyways. Well, sorry, man. That's just being an idiot. I won't lie. Was that a dumb choice? Absolutely.
If you want to feel smart,
that's life.
Next year, fill out a women's bracket. You will do so much better. I was in the top 600 people going into the second set of games because I had no idea who had good years, who had bad years, who was hurt, who was in.
Next year, I'm just gonna throw my bracket into a random generator, and whatever it gives me, it gives me.
You probably have.
You picked Purdue to win. Nope, switch that one.
I'm like, and you know what? AI's wrong. I know what I'm doing.
Here, we're gonna put in San Diego State.
But all in all, though, very exciting tournament. I'm excited to see.
But again, here's my thing with college basketball, and it's so hard because you could not play 64 teams in the college football playoff. But
no.
College basketball, every single year, there's no way you can't look at the winner and be like, it's not fair that so-and-so's team didn't get a fair shot. Because injuries have, UCLA's one of his top players got hurt. So you can always be like, well, if they had him, they might have won more games. But you still have to win so many games and play so well that you have a chance. Yeah. In college football, everyone this year is going to be like, well, man, if Alabama played Georgia, it would have been much closer. Okay, maybe. But also,
it is what it is.
Alabama could have lost to TCU. We don't know because they didn't play each other.
We got college football is bringing it going to the, 12 team format in 2 more years or next year?
2 more years.
2 more years. 2024 is when they're doing
2024 season.
Yes. So 2 years, yes.
They said it's the first, but that's the first year that they could bring it, or it could go until 26.
It's probably going to be 2024. Yeah, I'm willing to bet they're going to try and push that out as fast as they can.
But that'll alleviate a lot of that.
Yeah, that'll take some of that controversy away. But all in all, this has still been, like every year, March Madness has been just a lot of fun to watch. You know what? As someone who always preaches like it's good to see parity in the league and not the same teams every single time, every season. This has been a perfect example of that. Yeah. There's 6 people who predicted this Final Four. 6 total in the country that predicted this Final Four.
And most of them are probably fans of one of those 4 schools.
I'm willing to bet one of them are an alumni of one of these schools or something.
They are just a genius.
Yeah. It just is
you never know.
It's been an exciting. This is probably my favorite March Madness in a long while, just because next to Loyola, just because of the Loyola run and what it was, especially us being from Chicago, was pretty incredible to watch. Cool. But either way, we got the Final Four coming up this weekend, so I'm excited to tune in for that, and then we will recap that as it all happens. When's the championship game? Monday night. So we'll be able to recap it all. We'll see how we're standing. Remember, I got UConn FAU. You got Miami FAU, and Bobby, you have
UConn San Diego State.
UConn San Diego State. We'll see who's closest. But with that,
who do you have winning? UConn.
Yeah,
well, that's a different story.
That's a whole different
story.
We'll record before. No, I'm kidding. I'm probably going to take. I think UConn's going to win it all, just because of, like you said, they've been just another level.
To me, if my championship happens, I'm going to pick FAU over Miami.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if they play UConn, I think UConn.
I am going to root for FAU all the way, though, just because I believe they are the lowest seed left. Yeah. So I'm rooting for them to go as far as they can, because I think if they make the finals, they will be the lowest seed to play in the championship game at a 9.
Number 9.
Oh, that is cool.
The lowest to ever play in it, I believe, was an 8, maybe a 7.
Yeah, whatever Michigan was that year.
No, Michigan was pretty high that year.
I thought there were 7.
I think there were 3 or 4.
I don't look it up.
Look it up, Nick. You already got your laptop up. But we're gonna move in. Nick will throw that in there in a second. But we're gonna move into the MLB portion of the show, which will bring us to the end when we get to Nick's question of the week. But
Michigan was an 11, so
they were an 11 that year.
They had to win the Big Ten tournament to even get in. That's why it was.
And they made it. They played in the final as an 11. Are you sure?
This is this year. Hold up.
Okay, bro. I was gonna say there's no chance.
Champion.
They had Mo Wagner. They were good that year.
They were a 3.
Okay, there we go. That makes more sense.
Why did I think they were so much lower that year? I don't know.
Because they haven't amounted to that same level of play since.
Probably correct.
And they also got dogged in that championship game. That was like a 20 or 30.
17.
Oh, okay. It was bad. It was not close
It was
at all.
not good.
That's the game that, what's his face? That ginger guy from Villanova pretty much played himself into the NBA.
Dominic
draft.
DiVincenzo?
Yeah, he played himself into the draft
Dante
because of that. Dante
DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo.
And Mark.
And Mark. I'm rocking with Mark. But let's get into the MLB talk. Like I said earlier, guys, we're going to go just through division by division, pick our division winners, brief little justification why we think that'll happen. Then we'll roll right into regular season awards, AL and NL MVP and Cy Youngs. Same thing. Just a brief little explanation for why we think they're going to win that. So let's start over we're going to start in the American League. We're going to just go East, Central, West for both. So let's start in the American League East. So for those who do not know that division, that is the Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Orioles, Rays. Am I missing anyone?
That's it.
Yep, that's
Five.
it.
Okay,
That's
just
all.
wanted to make sure. With that, I'm taking the Blue Jays. I rolled with them the last couple of years. I feel like this is finally the year when it all comes together. They're a very good team on paper. And I think for the most part, Boston hasn't really gotten any better on paper. The Yankees, outside of adding Carlos Rodon, have pretty much been the same, but they're always a powerhouse anyways.
They are.
I just feel like the Blue Jays, that core is finally going to all click, and that team is going to really take another step from what they did the last couple of years and finally win the division. So I'm taking the Blue Jays this year.
I'm on Yankees. You add Carlos Rodon to an already pretty stacked roster. You kept
Typical.
listen.
Go ahead. Give your justification.
Listen, you re-signed Aaron Judge.
I picked the
You
division
kept
winner
Rizzo.
last year.
You
so
kept Rizzo. I picked Judge as the MVP.
No, I'm talking.
And he was right.
That's great. That's
But
great, Bobby. That's not my point.
it's just the Yankees are the Yankees. They're always going to be in contention.
It's
So-
The Browns is the Browns.
The Browns is the Browns. Yankees is the Yankees. No, I get it, Bob. I totally get it.
You have two ace pitchers. Like
It's just is what it is.
Like-
It is what it is, man. The Yankees are good.
yeah,
Yankees are good. They're the favorite for a reason. It's you're not far off thinking that. Nick's got the hottest pick of them all.
Give me the Baltimore Orioles.
Ooh.
First of all, Adley Rutschman not available for Rookie of the Year.
He isn't.
played enough games, yeah. But they have Gunnar Henderson, their shortstop, who is, and Grayson Rodriguez, their starting pitcher, who also is.
Dude, he's a flamethrower. too.
And I feel
love
like a lot
that
of
man.
people always cut this man out. Cedric Mullins is one of the best outfielders.
He's a
in
very
the AL.
strong center fielder, yeah.
He's got to be the veteran presence now that guys like Trey Mancini and those guys have
Which
gone.
is funny because he's only
Yeah,
year
he's
3
young.
on this team.
Yeah.
But I feel like, too, how the game has changed. Sometimes having that younger team kind of makes those guys just come to what their talent level is going to be faster. So if Cedric Mullins can get to that level, Adley Rutschman continues to improve, brings these other young guys up. I think they were pushing for third in the division last year. If they can just put it together, and that division is always a crapshoot because you always play the most games against your own division,
Yeah.
which means you're playing the most games against probably one of the hardest divisions in baseball at the
Easily.
current moment.
Second hardest division, in my opinion.
And Baltimore always does really well against Boston. I think we saw it after the opening day yesterday. They're 8-3 in opening games against Boston,
Which is nuts.
which you think about, you're
because
like,
of how bottom barrel the Orioles have been.
yeah.
for
So it's
long.
like,
Yeah,
all right.
it's
So
like-
if you can get one team, and they usually do well against the Rays. So if you can do good against two teams, then just have okay against the other teams, you have a chance.
Yeah, I think the Orioles are on the up and up. I think what's going to hold them back this year is just the age that you talked about, and I'm not too sure what their bullpen situation is.
Not great.
So that's a big thing because we've watched the White Sox, which I'll talk about them in a second, but we've watched the White Sox bullpen essentially cost them 2 games early on already this season. Bullpen is huge, especially in a division that features Aaron Judge and among other guys, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette. I mean, there's just tons of bats
Yeah.
in that
Rafael
division.
Devers.
Yeah, there's
Alejandro
just a lot of
Kirk,
talent. It's a hard
Trevor
division.
Story.
I think the Orioles are a couple years away. I think they're where the Blue Jays were 2 to 3 years
when
ago.
all those young guys were there.
Yeah, when all those young guys first came up. I think it's a very good blueprint to follow what is going on there.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm not going to say they can't.
No, I don't think any team right now. No team's out except the Diamondbacks
Yeah, that's and the Rockies
and the Reds.
Yeah, and the Reds.
and the Reds.
And
That's just
probably
a lot of them.
We
There's
could
a-
probably throw the Pirates in there too. You
Yeah,
might
there's
as
a
well
lot.
just
So
tell
there's
them
a lot
that.
of teams
Yeah.
that are already out. But let's
in
move.
the AL, there's not that many.
Yeah,
the Royals.
listed
That's
half of them.
about it.
Oh, the Royals.
the Royals.
5 out of 30 teams. I think 25 teams actually have a legitimate shot of possibly
Yeah,
making it.
yeah. So moving into the Royals division, I'm assuming none of us picked them in the Central.
Oh no.
I'll just be straight up. I'm wearing Sox jersey. I'm still going with the White Sox just because I feel like the AL Central Division still isn't very strong,
No.
and not much happened within the division between all these teams to change much. So you figure between the minor moves that each team made, I have to go, who do I think still has a pretty solid roster? I think the White Sox can compete with anyone in the division. So I'm going to take them, but I think this is the biggest coin flip division in the entire MLB this year.
Yeah, but
Just in terms of like, there's
teams,
no like team that's just clearly a better roster. Every team is better at a certain position group somewhere, but for the most part on paper, they all are pretty similar in my opinion. So I'm going with the White Sox because I'm going to make a little bit of a homer pick. And I think they're good enough.
It's okay to do.
No, I mean,
As we will see later, it is very okay to do.
We're going to see it 2 more times, actually.
Yeah, we are definitely.
Spoilers.
So, spoilers, guys. Take a guess at who Bobby and Nick are taking when their team's division comes up.
Well, obviously the Twins go ahead. They win the Carlos Correa sweepstakes on who
In some
where he was
weird
gonna
chain
go.
of events,
Yeah, dude.
Carlos Correa stayed in Minnesota.
And for a lot cheaper.
Yeah, for way cheaper than originally supposed to be made. So, but now Byron Buxton's going to be healthy this year. So I'm going off of adding Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton.
We assume he was going to be
gonna be
healthy
healthy.
other years, too.
We did.
Byron Buxton needs to actually stay healthy, or else I think he's getting to a point where it's time to start saying he's getting overrated because he can't stay. And I don't like saying that with injury stuff, but if you can't stay on the field,
Yeah.
I cannot say you're the best player in the division. It's the same thing with Luis Robert and Eloy. Like, those guys have tons of talent. Well, Eloy more so hitting wise, but like, I can't say they're good because they can't play enough games to bet for me to.
Those hammies got to hold up.
Yeah, like you can have all the talent in the world. If you can't actually stay on the field, it doesn't matter.
Real question is, did the Sox get a new trainer?
Yeah, they fired everyone last year.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Then
it's
you know
all
what?
whole new
You know what?
And they chose to
Maybe.
open their season in Houston where it's warm and those
Yeah.
hamstrings get a little loose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They didn't just go, hey guys, 40 degrees. Go run down the line as hard as you
I
can.
know you guys just played in
Uh-oh,
spring
man.
training.
Wait, when do they come up here?
Monday.
Monday. That's my.
Oh, no. That's a South Park thing, but we're going to go ahead and so you're going with the Twins, Bobby?
I'm gonna go Twins. Yeah.
That's a fair pick.
I got to go Guardians.
Again, fair pick.
Stephen Kwan is going to be better than he was last year. Almost rookie of the year if it wasn't for
He's just a
Julio.
contact machine. He is what Nick Madrigal was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Just a good, solid defensive player with great contact skills.
Before the White Sox training staff ruined him.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Dude, rupturing your hamstring tendon, that's a little different than just pulling your hamstring.
Yeah, no.
I don't really put that one on the training staff.
Yeah.
It's just bad that the Sox always is a hamstring. with their
It's
top
always
guy.
a hamstring.
It's hamstring or upper leg. It's like, can at least someone just break their
Yeah.
wist sliding into a base?
Which
Something like
actually,
that.
Nick Madrigal did that his rookie year.
Oh my god.
He broke his wrist sliding into third.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah, he Madrigal got derailed by that hamstring thing for sure. But Stephen Kwan is just so
Shane
so
Bieber being your
consistent.
ace. It's
And then don't get me started. Jose Ramirez, which by the way, have you heard Jose Ramirez's voice?
no.
No.
Dude, I promise you nothing like you would have expected him to sound like. I'll show you after the show, but
Okay.
he sounds completely
When,
different.
when did Jose Ramirez get into the league?
He's been around for a while. He was on,
2015.
he was on that
Okay.
World Series team.
Yeah, he played. He was really young when it's with that. Like
Okay.
Lindor was definitely the face of your roster then.
Okay.
But yeah, he's always been there.
God, I was thinking like back to like 2010.
Again, another thing. You trade Lindor and your team almost
2013 he
got better.
made his debut.
Okay, yeah. So it was.
Yeah, and you almost got better. So they can just keep. They just keep finding new talent and new guys. They just keep rolling.
Yeah, and then Shane Bieber, man, he's good.
Shane Bieber's a stud.
Yeah, Shane Bieber is just model of consistency. Like I said, this division, I think there's a fair case for every team except the Royals.
Yeah.
Well, which we should have gone through the teams in this division: White Sox, Guardians, Twins, Tigers, Royals. Tigers are a dark horse for it, but I just think
They're
they're
very much like the Orioles. I think they're one or two more.
they're
out
still a
from
little
being
too
that.
weak, I think, to like make a true running at it.
Yeah.
But they are also a team that's going in the right direction. If Spencer Torkelson doesn't pan out, that'll set them back for sure, though.
Yeah, Spencer
They have a
Torkelson.
lot. They have a lot riding on his development,
Yeah, you got Javi
especially
Baez there.
offensively.
Good pitching too.
Yeah, and
They
they
got
do have lots
Casey
of pitching.
Mize.
Remember when I
Pitching
picked
talent.
Casey Mize to be my
That was bold.
rookie Cy Young winner? Did not happen.
That was very bold, but we have a bolder prediction coming up here with the American League West. So American League West, in that we have the Mariners, Astros, Athletics, Angels, Rangers, which is the Rangers. They're probably, well, they shouldn't be out of it. But the hottest pick in this one, Bobby, go ahead, give us your prediction. This is more bold than the Casey Mize, by the way.
Angels. This is your last year with Mike Trout and Shohei. If they don't win the division,
They're not going to, Bob.
This is a complete, absolute disappointment. Like,
I'm going to tell you right now,
you are wasting.
they are not winning.
You are wasting the talent you
They've
have.
been wasting that talent, Bobby. They're not winning it. If you guys have any money to spend on betting, bet it all against the Angels winning the division. They're not winning it. It's not going to happen.
This is the year that they have to get it together, and they are going to win the division.
It's not going to happen. What's going to happen is we're going to see what we've seen for the last few years, and the Astros are going to win the division. That's just what it is now with that division.
Well,
I'm going Astros. If you guys didn't know, if you couldn't follow along,
that's a good pick.
Of
course we were going to take that.
Yeah, listen, buddy. Of course I am going to take the Astros. I took the Angels last year, and they made me look dumber than taking Purdue to win it all. Okay,
pretty much.
I spoke with confidence in the Angels last year. At least I didn't have confidence in Purdue. I was so convinced that the Angels. I said what you just said.
Yeah.
They're putting it together this year. Shohei's gonna keep getting better. Trout's gonna be healthy. All this stuff's gonna work out. And what did they do? Let me down. Like they let down all of their fans. So I'm gonna go with the Astros. I just still think they're the best team in that division. Even with Altuve being out for an extended period of time, I still think they're the best team.
Yeah, he broke his.
But it does make for a great opportunity for other teams.
Fractured wrist?
No.
Yeah, it does make for a great opportunity for other teams to try and get out to a fast start and put a bit of a lead on them in the division, such as
The Seattle Mariners.
Seattle Mariners.
Because not only do they still have Julio, who arguably I think he's not my MVP candidate, but I was so close to putting him in there. Just because if he can just do exactly what he did last year, except having that acclaim of being a star, he gets those calls. The first 17 strikeouts he got, where he had like the most strikeouts as a rookie ever, 16 of them were on pitches outside of the zone.
That happens to young guys.
When you start to become more, involved in it, you start getting those calls. And if he has that awareness of the zone.
That's the big part of the maturation process.
Yeah. So you have that. You have Teoscar Hernandez coming in. Mitch Haniger, my boy, is gone. That's sad.
But I think he got better with Teoscar.
Yeah, Jesse Winker, one and done year. So Jared Kelnick's our left fielder, which.
What's going on with Kyle Lewis?
He's in
He got traded.
Milwaukee. They traded him. They traded him for Colton Wong.
That's right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, so he's in Milwaukee. So those are outfielders, and then they have, if Robbie Ray comes back to Cy Young level, just even half that, George Kirby develops as a thing.
If he can come to a low 3 ERA.
Yeah, you have four. You have four pitchers that could be an ace on most teams, and they have to have the best rotation in baseball. Now that's a big what if. Starting the year, they're not the best rotation in baseball.
And Robbie Ray is on the IL already.
Yeah, but if Luis Castillo already looks like he's going to be an ace, which to me, Logan Gilbert's still your ace because that's who's been on your roster since you drafted him. But if George Kirby comes up, and then Matt Brash is probably one of the filthiest pitchers.
Castillo was their opening day start, right?
Yeah, he was.
So he's
their ace.
He's viewed as the ace.
Yeah, but I view it as like the Mariners ace that they have. It's Logan Gilbert because he's had 2 successful years. He's still going to have a good year this year. And it's like he's a homegrown.
You groomed him. You were going there. I heard you going there.
Homegrown. Homegrown talent.
Why'd you have to make it so nasty? All right.
But it's just,
I heard you back off the word. So I'm like, I'm going with it, dude. I had to.
But yeah, with the Astros, they always have a chance to win it. And the Rangers, if they can put it together, they've Jacob deGrom now.
The Rangers on paper should be very good.
But same thing with the Angels.
Jacob deGrom got rocked in his opening day start, which is uncharacteristic. Maybe he got some jitters not playing in New York. Either way, though, I personally think this is a 2-team race between the Astros and the Mariners. Angels will probably finish third. Athletics, another team totally out of it. Yeah. As we go through, we're going to just already eliminate
Billy
teams.
Bean is not there, so
it's over.
Immediately.
Moneyball's over. All right. Brad Pitt has left the organization. Brad Pitt left the organization. Jonah Hill lost weight, so he's not that guy anymore.
Yeah. It's not 2000.
It's not yet.
Spend money. All right.
It's time for you guys to relocate to Nashville.
Yeah.
But that'll move us. Let's move back into the East now, going with the National League. National League. This is the Mets, Braves, Phillies. Help me out here, guys. Marlins. Oh, dude. Why? Oh, Washington. Washington.
Okay,
Washington.
I was
Washington out of it. Another team. That's another team. They're out of it.
Yeah,
They're, like I said,
they won the World Series recently. They can be out of it. They're fine.
They get to ride the coattails of that for a couple more years at least.
But it really sucks that like they had Trey Turner.
So this is
guys.
Yeah, I know they blew it all up, dude.
Yeah.
This is another division that I think is very solid at the top, or very even. There's three
Evenly
teams
matched,
I think at the top of this division. That's the Braves, Phillies, and Mets. I think that's your three team race there. With that, I'm going with the team that's been the most consistent for the last few years. I'm taking the Braves. I think the Phillies will make the playoffs, and that's no slight at them. It's just the Braves, if I remember correctly, won the division last year.
Yep.
So on paper, the Braves are the better team. They've been more consistent in terms of their performance throughout the entire season in the last couple of years. So I just think they're going to kind of continue with that trend.
But after they fired their manager, they were more consistent.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you're not taking the Braves.
He's already gone.
So you're not taking the Braves.
I'm going Phillies. Yeah.
Can you
Schwarber,
name
Harper.
4 guys on the Phillies that aren't former Cubs?
Nick Cassiano. Well,
Former Cubs. There you go. Gotcha.
Oh, that's a no.
Aaron Nola. JT Realmuto.
The guy you started with. You can name him.
Oh, Bryce Harper. Yeah.
That's 3.
Yeah. Man, why am I drawing a blank here?
Because you don't know them.
Who's their first?
That's okay.
Who's
I'm
their
not
first-
saying I could do
Who's
it.
their first baseman?
I know that one. Reese Hoskins?
Oh yeah, Reese Hoskins.
Bryson
Oh,
Stott.
Bryson
Alex
Stott?
Bohm.
Gene Segura.
Alec Bohm.
Alec Bohm. Yeah.
Alex Bohm is someone we went to high school with.
Yeah, true. But,
Alec Bohm. Gene Segura, he is still on there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
oh yeah, he's their shortstop.
No, Trey Turner's your shortstop.
Oh yeah, they signed Trey Turner. Dude, they're clearly winning it.
I
they're
to be
clearly-
entirely honest,
Yeah, that's-
totally forgot Trey Turner was on the
I
Phillies.
completely forgot that.
That my mind just blew right there because I completely forgot about that. I still like the Braves. I think the Braves have a strong pitching staff, and we know what they have position wise for talent.
And
So Nick, you are also going with
I'm also going Phillies. Defending NL champs. They made it to the World Series. I thought they had a good chance to beat the Astros, but they were just a young team that needed a couple more pieces. You added Trey Turner.
you added it. Boom. After his World Baseball Classic performance, boom.
That's a guy who,
I still like the Braves.
to me, baseball is still. I love Moneyball. I love the movie, but if you can get a guy on first base that will pretty much put himself into scoring position,
Speed,
you have a chance to
base
win.
running, dude. Base running is huge.
And
is.
he gets on first base. Pretty much any guy in that lineup could put a ball in the gap. He's scoring.
Yeah,
You're good.
a great example, a great counterpart to this, right? Yasmani Grandal, great at getting on base, love it and everything, except for the fact that he's the slowest player in the league, and he's not getting to second on his own, and he's certainly not turning. He's not getting to third on a ball in the gap. He's that slow.
I
So
don't
like,
get how he's that slow.
Well, to me, it's
because he's
everything.
just is.
Everything comes down to
you need
the-
speed. You need good base running.
Speed
Yeah.
puts, even if you're not a good steal the bases. If you can't steal a base, that's fine. But as a pitcher, if you have a guy who's fast on first, okay, I'm going to try to get him on put a ball on the ground. But he might be able to break up that double play at second. So that's already like, maybe I should just strike him out.
And if it gets through, he might be able to get to third.
Yeah. Now I walk him. Now I have a speed guy in second, which means any ball that makes it out of the infield dirt
Is
a
probably
run.
gonna score.
So now it just
Yeah.
puts that pressure in. And some of the pitchers will just turn that off and be like, it doesn't matter. I'm focusing on this guy.
Yeah.
But
But
for
not
sure-
all of them.
Yeah.
The best of the best do that. But when you have to go against your average everyday bullpen guy who's coming in and not used to that kind of pressure, it's a whole different story. No, the Phillies are a fair pick, but I still like the Braves in that one.
Get over here forgetting about Trey Turner.
yeah, dude,
I
I
totally
forgot about Trey
I
Turner. And I
totally forgot about. I completely forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that
one. That,
was-
that almost makes me want to switch, but I'm gonna stay put with the Braves.
And then Dansby Swanson leaving. Yeah,
Yeah, that's okay.
We're okay.
They're still a very good team,
They still got
they're
Ronald.
good.
and they still have a lot of good pitching and everything as well. But let's move into the Central, Bobby.
Yep.
Go ahead and lead the way with
All
your
right,
pick.
listen.
I wonder whoever could
I'm
this
taking
be.
the Cubs. We signed Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger, Eric Hosmer, Trey Mancini.
Don't
we have
group
veteran-
Eric Hosmer in there.
All right,
He's a first baseman who can play first base.
he's better
He's a
than
veteran
Frank
presence. I
Schwindel.
Yeah.
All right,
It's an improvement, but
it's an improvement. improvement.
He's not the same level signing
Free
as
Ian Happ.
We got.
I do like
Happ,
Ian Happ a
of
lot.
course.
I've always been a fan of
Yeah,
Happ.
and Ian Happ is
Switch hitter. I love switch hitters.
Yeah, he's a good switch hitter. And last year he actually had a very consistent overall season. So it's looking like he's not just destroying at the last end of the season. Like,
Yeah. No, I get
falling off
it.
cliff. Well, plus we have decent pitchers. I won't say our bullpen sucks. That's our biggest flaw right now.
That's a lot of teams' flaws is
Yeah.
bullpen.
But sometimes you don't know really that you have a good bullpen. Like
Yeah,
I look
that
at the
can all go-
The Mariners 2 years ago, I would like the bullpen's trash, and then halfway through, it's like they might have one of the best bullpens in baseball.
Yeah.
just
like-
because you develop your own.
Bullpen pitchers are so hot and cold. Like you can have a great example, and I'm gonna go to the White Sox a lot because that's the most baseball I watch. But 2 years ago, Aaron Bummer was
I knew that
an absolute stud out of the bullpen. All of a sudden, dude can't find the strike zone to save his life, and that's how it goes with bullpen guys. Like all you really need is if you can get your bullpen to be like on point for a season, that's enough to make a run.
I always look at the Cleveland Indians at the time, Guardians now, when they had Cody Allen, Andrew Miller,
Yep.
and then that one other guy who was like their seventh guy who came in like when the starting pitcher couldn't get to Andrew Miller
Yeah.
to pitch 2 innings. It was like you already knew, boom, those 2 guys were coming in.
Yeah,
And you're like, when that can happen, even if your team isn't good with bullpen, if you sit out there, I know they don't have Carl Edwards Jr. anymore because he's on the Mariners, but like if you can set up where it's like Carl Edwards Jr., every 9th inning you're pitching and you're going to pitch how you
Right.
pitch. Eventually he just is like, all right, it doesn't matter. We're up 1 run, we're up 4 runs. I'm going to come in the 9th and just shut him down. And then boom, happens. So if that's your weakest part, and teams that fall apart, like if we're looking at, I mean, the Orioles aren't a good thing, but some good teams like the Sox might be willing to trade bullpen arms if it halfway through the season, they're just looking like they're not going to make it. And that's where you can really swoop in, take those guys, and they just lead your team to a chance of making the playoffs.
I think the Cubs do have a realistic chance at this division.
Yeah.
Just because I think this is similar to the AL Central, where there's not like a. If I had to pick a team that's the best on paper, I'm picking the Cardinals. That's who I'm picking to win it based on that pretty much alone. But all of the teams I think are on a pretty level playing ground. And I just think the Cardinals have the edge in terms of like overall team talent, which is what I expect to be the difference maker naturally.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Cubs are a long shot at all. Last year I thought they were.
Oh yeah,
I thought they were a definite long shot. But after last season and then some of their acquisitions, especially if you can get Cody Bellinger playing up to what he was when he was an MVP and like the years before that. That could be a huge value addition as well. So I think the Cubs have a realistic chance. I just think the Cardinals are the better team, and they're going to be able to just hold an edge over them the entire season and just kind of take it into. I think the race will probably go into the last month of the season.
Yeah.
But I'm going Cardinals.
For me on paper, it's clear that the Cardinals have to be the favorite to win. You got Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, probably the best corner fielding that you can even put out there.
Goldschmidt's bat alone.
Yeah.
I
Then
mean,
you
former MVP.
add Wilson Contreras to replace Yadier Molina. So yeah, you lose a little bit of that veteran presence and maybe defense.
But you got a better bat.
better bat,
Yeah.
just better. He can
that
change
one.
the game.
And he's still got a good
Hitting-wise.
arm. He's not the same defensively, but he can still throw out just about anyone with his arm.
And then you got outfielders. You got Lars Nootbaar, which probably one of the best baseball names. Just
Love it.
Lars
Nootbaar.
Yeah, Tyler O'Neill,
Speed and power.
Paul DeYoung, like Nolan Gorman's going to be your rookie. That's
Tommy
coming in.
Edman.
Tommy
Can't forget
Edman.
about Tommy
Yeah,
Edman. I'm a
Tommy
big Tommy Edman guy.
And it's just like
Switch hitter.
to me, it's some of those
He's
teams
really
where you can
good
just
defense.
find success at every position.
Is
And, like,
Harrison Bader still in?
no, he's in New York.
Okay, that's right.
But it's just like, again, the 2 guys you listed, Tommy Edman and I can't remember the other guy you just said before that, but they play multiple positions. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right, your left fielder needs a day off. Tommy Edman can play left field. Paul
Yeah.
DeYoung can play second and short.
And he's another strong power bat.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
glove. There's so much good defense on that team. Like Nolan Arenado, best third baseman in the MLB. I will take that to the grave. He has won the Gold Glove every single year since his rookie year.
Yeah, he's a platinum glover.
Yeah, he's a
Platinum.
stud.
5 gold
Paul
gloves,
Goldschmidt,
platinum
solid
glove.
defense. Doesn't need to be crazy great defense at first base, though.
No.
And guess what he brings? One of the best bats in the MLB. Tommy Edman, I think, is a Gold Glove caliber second baseman who could play shortstop, but probably won't play it all that much. And, dude, they called up their top prospect, Walker. What's his name? Jordan Walker?
Oh, yeah, Jordan Walker.
Jordan Walker. They called him up, if he becomes what people think he will become, that's another future
And again,
star.
it's
in the
so
making.
much easier.
They don't have Albert Pujols anymore, though. So.
They don't need Albert Pujols.
It's so
They're
much
not winning their
easier
division.
being a
Okay,
young
but-
guy coming into a team like that. Like I always look at like
no pressure for him.
Like Jared Kelenic had so much pressure coming up, and I always look at him because I was a Mariners fan. But like Luis Robert, that year that he came up, people were like, "Oh, he's going to be good," but we don't really need him to be the best because we have Abreu and Tim Anderson are all good.
Yeah.
And he clicked right away, so it was nice. But it's like we don't really need that because we
Jordan
just need
Walker's
you to be,
coming into a low pressure situation.
Yeah, he can bet 7, 8, or 9 and be like, you know what? As long as you're seeing good pitches, not
Yeah.
striking out
Get
consistently.
your feel for the zone, get acclimated to this level, and he should be a pretty solid defensive player as well. There's just so much talent defensively on.
And they're pitching so good.
Yeah, on paper they're the best team, so they should win the division. But I'm not going to say that they're going to run away with it. You know, I don't think that's the case. But
And the Cubs got that dog in them. All right.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, the Brewers are just on a hot streak. So
They sure.
Oh, they aren't anymore, man. They do not have any bats. But they did beat
They
us.
sure. Yeah, they just won today, Bob. They sure are on a hot streak. But that'll bring us to our final division, the NL West. NL West consists of Colorado Rockies, LA Dodgers, San Diego Padres, Arizona Diamondbacks. Don't even need to talk about
Get out of
that.
here.
San Francisco Giants.
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
With that, I'm taking the Dodgers still. I just think they're the best in that division. And I think it's going to continue to be more of the same over there. I think the Padres are going to do what the Padres do, and that is fall behind at a crucial point in the season.
I agree.
And the Giants just aren't it anymore. They're just not.
They added Mitch Haniger, who
Yeah, boy.
does not have a ruptured testicle anymore. So,
Yes, I don't
well, I
Go
don't know
ahead.
I don't know what he was injured last year for because he didn't play.
He
a lot
didn't
of-
rupture.
No, last year he played the whole year.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
okay.
say, he didn't
All right,
rupture.
man.
2 years ago
That was
is 2 years ago is when he lost a lot of time from the ruptured
Yeah.
testicle.
See, but they have a good team and they put it together. Like
I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna have a fall from grace this
I
year.
love Michael Yastrzemski.
Yeah.
Like I
favorite
it's
players.
nothing against the Giants. I just don't think they're gonna
Brandon
be
Crawford.
what you wanted them to.
You just listed 38-year-old as your second guy.
Oh,
coming.
They just don't have it
I
this
like
year. They
Brandon
don't.
Crawford.
I don't.
Oh,
see-
I've always loved
I
him.
think it's a 2-team race between the Padres and the Dodgers.
They still have Evan Longoria, or did he retire?
I think he's still on the team.
Yeah, I think he's still
They
there.
probably have the oldest aged left side of the field.
Yeah.
the two biggest skill positions on the
But
infield.
listen, you
Combined age of 73.
But you did say that 2 years ago, and they were the first team in 50.
Okay, yeah, we all kept saying the
We
Giants were just on a
all-
hot streak.
Yeah, and all of those key players that were a part of that team retired, signed to a different team.
Yeah.
They got
Kevin Gossman was the biggest part of that
Yeah,
team.
was
he was.
huge. Buster Posey in his final year playing back to like his prime. They don't have that anymore.
They got a good solid team.
Yeah, it's between the Padres and Dodgers, Bob.
Yeah, I picked the Padres just because to me it's going to be interesting to see how Tatis develops with him not playing at the start because of his PEDs last year.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Where it's like Tatis gets hot and always gets hot. He's a big name in baseball. He's a good baseball player. If he comes into the league where they're already in first place, I feel like it's going to take a lot of pressure off him, and he can just kind of coast into being how he's going to be playing. Plus, he's going to be playing the outfield this year because they added Xander Bogaerts, and he's going to be there at shortstop. So when you're looking at, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Hosmer's gone, Adam Frazier was gone a couple years ago.
Cronenworth's playing first base though.
But
so-
you got Jake Cronenworth, who's got to be one of the fastest first basemen.
Oh yeah,
He's so speedy.
I'm a big fan of Cronenworth.
I believe they still have Tommy Pham in the outfield. You're
Juan
gonna,
Soto.
yeah, you got Juan Soto. You're gonna add Tatis to be your center fielder.
Is Will Myers gone?
I don't know.
I think Will Myers is on the Reds now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the entire Padres roster off the top.
There
of
was
my
a
head,
lot of
unfortunately.
mid-tier players from like good teams and like slightly that just like flipped around.
Yeah,
a lot.
they-
And
they-
Yeah,
it's-
at the end of the day, I think this division comes down to pitching staff. Really, I think their starting rotations are comparable, and I think the Dodgers have a better better bullpen than the
Yeah.
Padres,
I'm looking for
and they
Yu
just have
Darvish.
more proven like been there, done that guys.
Yu Darvish and Josh Hader are gonna really have to both. Yu Darvish is gonna have to lead the starters. I think they still have Blake Snell, right?
And
Padres?
Yeah, Blake Snell's still there.
Musgrave.
Joe Musgrove.
Yeah.
They did lose Clevenger, which I don't think he really was doing much.
No, he was like their 5, maybe their 4. He gets the start tomorrow for the White Sox though.
Hey, look at that.
So
Woo. Let's go.
Let's go.
For the home opener.
No, last game.
Oh,
last
yeah,
game
no, that's
against
Monday.
the.
That's Monday.
Yeah, last game against the Astros. But like I said, I think it's a two team race there. Padres and Dodgers. Giants. I just don't think they have it this year, Bob. I could be wrong, and I kind of hope I'm wrong because I'd like to see.
I like the Giants.
I'd like to see the
The
Dodgers.
Giants are in that division. Every other division, I really don't care, but that division, I always root for the Giants because I don't like the other two teams. I just don't like.
I don't want the Padres to do well, and I don't want the Dodgers to do well, but Rockies and Diamondbacks sure as hell aren't slowing them down.
No,
That just isn't going to happen.
It can't be that bad in that cool of a city connect jersey. It just shouldn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Make that make sense. You can't. But let's roll into our regular season awards, and we'll just kind of rifle these ones off.
Yeah.
You can give quick one or two sentences why you think why you're making that pick, and then we'll keep moving through. So let's start in the American League again. AL MVP. I'm going to go with Yordan Alvarez. I think he's just got an incredibly consistent bat who can hit for power, contact. Like he can just hit where he needs to put the ball. And I've seen it happen for 3 straight games against the White Sox already.
That game one, that was a moonshot.
I watched him break my heart last September.
Yeah, he's
with
just so good.
That was a moonshot too.
Like
Robbie Ray.
Out of all of the American League's power hitters, I think he's the least boom or bust guy. Like he can do it all. He's not strictly home run, and he's not strictly like small ball. He's just too good at the plate.
Without the shift, it just opens up the field more to him because he already hits to all sides of the field.
Yeah, he's just so good.
But we saw it in the game today. He put one right up the middle where it's like, if the shift was in play, may or may not have been a hit. But it's like,
doesn't matter.
If he can beat the shift, not beat the shift.
He's just so good. He's so good at the plate, and his defense has gotten a lot better now as well. So he's not going to be a liability out in left field. Plus, he plays in a small left field anyways. But Yordan Alvarez, that's my pick. Bobby, you are going with
Adley Rutschman. He had a really good rookie showing, and I just think that
switch hitter.
He's switch hitter pretty fast too for a catcher.
Yeah, he's got some legs. Yeah. He's youth. He's got youth in him.
I just think he's gonna put it together. Like this is the year that he could just have an amazing show.
Shows why he was the first overall pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And then Nick,
my heart wants to pick Julio, but I just can't because I think if Byron Buxton stays healthy, I mean, look at Byron Buxton's first month last year. At that point, he's on pace to be insane. A Triple Crown winner with speed and great fielding. Like nothing really gets past him. Nothing really gets in the gap in Minnesota.
That's fair.
And again, another thing, Yordan Alvarez is on the Astros where you're thinking they're going to for sure win. A lot of people are. But Byron Buxton and Adley Rutschman, if they can lead their team to first place and win the division, then they just get those extra bonus points where it's already going to be a tight race from MVP. So it's going to be who made their team better. And I think
fair enough.
I think if the Twins can win the division, that's going to help a lot.
He has to stay healthy, but
that's the biggest.
I think these are 3 solid picks, Bobby. I think Adley Rutschman that's a long shot for sure.
He's a dark horse, man.
He's more than a dark horse. He's an invisible horse.
I'm a betting man.
But you're a betting man, and you sure you like the big payouts. I totally get it. Let's move into let's move into the Cy Young here. American League Cy Young. Bobby, I'm gonna have you go first on this one.
Carlos Rodon. I'm a big Carlos Rodon fan. And it's just he's good. He's a good pitcher, and I really think the Sox messed up by letting him walk. You know?
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah. He gets a lot of strikeouts. As long as he stays healthy, he's kind of like Byron Buxton.
Yeah,
he has to stay on. He has to play enough, and
his biggest thing that's going to come to it is if he pitches over the 6 innings a game.
Yeah,
because when he was on the Sox and still playing well, even if they were winning by 4 or 5, he would come out after 6 innings. And
he went deep a number of times for the White Sox, but then missed the last 2 months because his shoulder was done.
That year that he pitched really well before the Sox let him go.
The toe hitter?
Yeah, he would have had a chance to be Cy Young, but he wasn't even qualified for innings pitched. So
he sat out the whole second or last 2 months of the season.
Yeah.
But then he came in and looked really good in the playoffs. That happened to be their only playoff win that year.
Yeah. But also he's in New York, so you already got
the big
Cole.
Lights.
So he's number 2. You know what I mean? He's not coming in as
I like the pick.
guy.
Rodon has had quite the ascension among MLB pitchers. It's a shame that it took as long as it did for him, but that was a big health thing, which is still going to be the case.
That's
for him
a lot of guys though. Kevin Gausman was in the league for a long time with Baltimore, and then finally just moved to another team where he just kind of settled in, got used to. I mean, and you also have Buster Posey as your catcher, so it's like, oh yeah, I like throwing to this guy.
Yeah,
but that's a fair pick. Nick, you want to go next?
Yeah, I think After watching the World Baseball Classic, which was great for baseball just in general, Patrick Sandoval to me can be a very dark horse candidate.
Oh yeah. By the way, not to cut you off, Team Japan won the World Baseball Classic. For those who weren't following,
Shohei Ohtani strikes out Mike Trout
to end it.
Wow, two of the best players in the world. That'd be insane if they're on the same team, wouldn't it?
Oh, wait, they are.
Oh gosh, they are.
But so Patrick Sandoval.
Patrick Sandoval watching Mexico versus the USA, he shut down that lineup, and that lineup was Trey Turner, Paul Goldschmidt, Mike Trout. They were all guys we talked about this whole episode being studs, and he shut them down. And it's like, even if you have 2 or 3 runs to that, you're never facing a lineup that stacked all year. Yeah. So if he can just do that and just be consistent, again, Felix Hernandez won it when he lost more games than he won in like 2012. He might be the next guy to do it because the Angels, unfortunately, probably going to be trash again.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going with Dylan Cease.
Wow, typical.
Yeah, typical. Runner-up in the American League Cy Young last year. And I believe, if I remember correctly, he led the league in strikeouts last year as well. Or if he didn't,
he led the American League.
Led the American League.
He was like 2 or 3 behind Scherzer.
Yeah, so Dylan Cease has some of the nastiest stuff among, like, in the MLB as a whole. And from what I watched he was the opening day starter for the White Sox. And from what I watched, he seems to have way more control over his breaking balls. And he's finding himself in less high pitch counts early in games. If he can do that on a consistent basis, there's no doubt in my mind Dylan Cease can potentially run away with the Cy Young because he just has that good of a pitch mix. And I mean, his curveball is one of the bendiest in the MLB. He's got everything you want, and all he needed to do was get better control of his pitches, which obviously it's been 1 start, so it's way too early to say definitively.
5th place in strikeouts.
He was 5th?
Yeah.
Still,
he was 2 behind your boy, Carlos Rodon.
So still, he's got some crazy stuff, and if he gets more control, I think he can run away with it. So that's my Cy Young choice, which brings us to the National League then. National League MVP, I'm going to go first on this one. I'm taking Ronald Acuna Jr. I just think he's got he's like the Byron Buxton of the National League. Speed, power, contact, fielding. Well, he's everything you want in an outfielder. And I think he's going to, if he stays healthy, once again, could probably take that himself. MVP.
It's a fair choice. I'm going Kyle Schwarber. Man has really come to his own in the last couple of years. Like, dude, he's just hits bombs. Like,
nukes.
He is the
would it dong?
He is the poor man's Aaron Judge.
Okay,
which is the best way to put it. Yeah. So I think he's gonna have a great showing this year. I expect a lot.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change my answer from what I put because I realized I put Matt Olson when I don't think he's gonna be the best first baseman in the National League. I'm gonna go Paul Goldschmidt.
I was debating Paul Goldschmidt. I think he won in 2021 or 22. Was he MVP?
2020. It was
2020.
It was Goldschmidt and Abreu. It was 2 first basemen on both sides.
Yeah.
It's 2020. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
And to me, it's just again,
Argentina doesn't count.
They have a lot.
Disney World.
They have a lot of good guys on that team, but it's like sometimes that veteran presence of Jose Abreu in 2020. If you can just be the best player on an already good team, it's like it's kind of hard not to pick the best player on a team when you have 7 or 8 guys who should be in the top 10, 20 of MVPs.
Fair enough. I get that one. I was between him and Acuna Jr.
I like that pick.
I totally see the logic there. Crazy good bat
I'm glad
on a
you
good
didn't
team.
pick Matt Olson, though.
I picked. You know what's weird? I looked at it. I picked Matt Olson last year because
did you really?
Yeah.
I think I chose Ronald Acuna Jr. last year too.
Because my thing always was he was so good in Oakland, but like he always got overshadowed because he was on such a bad team, and now he's on the Braves, where it's like he can do the same stat line in Oakland and Atlanta, but it's gonna get twice as much coverage.
Right.
And then last year he just got swallowed up by Dansby having a great year, Austin Riley having a great year, and Ronald Acuna. So I was like, we can have a breakout year this year. I'm like, but he already has in the past. Paul Goldschmidt will probably have a breakout year, and that'll be more attention.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So then moving into the Cy Young, I'm going Justin Verlander. He goes from the American League to the NL. Won the Cy Young last year. He's always a finalist every year. He's just the ageless wonder at this point, and I think he's probably going to continue that production again in New York with the Mets. So I'm going to take him going.
Typical.
Whatever, man.
Typical.
Wow, all 4 of your guys are probably going to be in the top 5. Wow, this is
I'm
insane.
going Spencer Strider.
Right.
he's a dark horse. He had his rookie campaign last year. He had a really good show. He had like a 3-point something.
He popped off
ERA.
last year towards the second half of the season. He really was just lights out.
So if he keeps it like that, I think he could definitely win it.
The thing is, he doesn't have much of a pitch mix. He's a 3-pitch pitcher, which can run you into trouble if you've come against good fastball lineups.
Yeah.
Like the Astros.
Yeah.
Ashland's Lane.
Well, good thing he's in
Atlanta.
So,
But still, like
unless
he needs to get a fourth pitch in there.
Yeah.
So, like a
Which he's still
curveball or
young.
something.
That
He's
could have
still,
been.
he's got plenty of time.
That could have been developed in spring training, and then of course you can go to what you like in the first couple of games.
They could be working on that.
Yeah.
He just needs to get a bit more of a mix. But that's a solid dark horse candidate for sure.
Yeah.
To me, I'm going Logan Webb. I'm gonna double dip in the well of the Kevin Gossman well. Logan Webb started becoming a good pitcher in that same year Kevin Gossman did, and then overlooked just because Kevin.
Do you know
Gossman
what
was
the
a
team
stud.
Logan Webb is on, Bob?
Giants.
Nice.
Yeah, come on, man.
I just wanted to. I got to do it.
I know-
He's a
I
ball.
know ball.
He knows
I
ball.
know
He knows
ball.
You know
All right.
ball?
Yeah.
You know ball?
I know
But-
ball.
Yeah.
So Logan Webb, bad pitch to Aaron Judge, which he just sent a nuke in New York, and then he also threw a bad pitch to Gio Urshela, also in New York, where it's easy to hit home runs.
Yeah.
Only 2 runs he gave up, and they lose. It's like if you can go through that lineup and only have 2 mistakes, and it's just a bad
Logan
pitch.
Webb's got good stuff. He's a sinker baller too, I believe.
Yeah.
I think
he is.
he's got 5 pitch mix. He's a sinker baller, and again, he's
I
one
don't
of those
think
guys.
he's a big strikeout guy.
And
Just
that's
like my boy.
I've always liked that
Yeah.
more is guys who just get that soft contact. I've always liked Kyle Hendricks from the Cubs because he knows where to pinpoint balls. He's never going to blow you away with 102. But if you do actually get turned around on one, you're probably hitting it to the third
But
baseman.
he'll throw off your timing with an 86. That's for sure.
Yeah, he
No,
will.
pitch to contact pitchers. That's an art of its own, really.
Yeah.
So I appreciate those kinds of pitchers. Kyle Hendricks, when I play the show, continues to be one pitcher I cannot hit, mostly because of how slow his pitches are. It's got me all messed up. But it's soft contact guys are big. But Logan Webb's got a little bit more, a little more velocity.
zip.
Yeah.
But I just look at like pitchers when we were kind of growing up and like looking at Mark Burley, not a big like
No, he was a pitch to
strikeout guy.
contact
Yeah.
guy.
Greg Maddux, probably one of the most pitch to contact guys. But again, those guys just end up leading into more strikeouts, less walks. And if you're not walking guys, I think Dylan Cease is the biggest. He'll strike you out 13 times, but he'll also give up 6 walks.
Yeah,
so
that's
he might
why I
most
said
likely
that
not getting out of 6.
If he can get his control in order, he'd be dominant.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's just
No.
studs out there.
That's a solid pick. Bobby, you say you know ball. I have one question for you.
All right, let's.
One question, and then we'll go quick. Next question of the week. What are the rules? What are the pitch clock times for pitchers?
28 seconds.
No,
So close.
close and also not close at all.
You just start with your first thing and then just end at and. It's just 20 seconds.
So it is 20 seconds with no runners on base, or
Okay.
15 seconds with no runners on base, 20 seconds with a runner on base, 30 seconds between batters.
Okay.
When does the batter need to be attentive towards the pitcher? By what point in the
8 seconds.
Okay, that's good boy.
Yeah.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Proud of you. I'm props to you for knowing that one.
Yeah.
I hit you with a little bit of a trick question because there's multiple answers to it.
Listen, I don't give a shit about anything of this pitch clock, all right? All I care about is watching that batter hit the ball out of the park. That's all I care about.
Well, unless the Cubs are pitching.
Yeah, unless it comes to pitching, then I don't want that to happen. I want to
But that's when you need to know the pitch clock rules.
Yeah.
That's
I
when
don't
it changes everything.
That's what the ump's for. He's supposed to tell me that, all right?
Yeah, it's illegal. Don't do
The
that.
announcers explain it to me when it happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I just wanted to put you on the spot, Bob, because
Yeah, I don't know. Did you watch the Sox game yesterday?
No, I didn't.
4 of their 5 mound visits were used in 1 inning,
the 7th inning.
and all to Kendall Graveman being the pitcher.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
rough.
Kendall Graveman had a terrible showing yesterday. But like I said, I had that one question, and now we'll roll into it. Nick,
Bobby, you
as
ready
always,
for another
question of the
zinger?
week.
Yeah, let's hear it.
This is a question coming just for you.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, so a
know
couple,
this one.
probably
I
a
know
month
this
or 2 ago, we talked about Andrew running 25 yards in a game,
Rushing
where he
for
had-
25 yards
30
in a
carries.
NFL game on 30 carries. I still believe I could do that, by the way.
So here's a hypothetical for you.
Okay.
Out of the 3 of us, you're probably the worst golfer. Not to tack you down, but
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fair enough.
It's true.
You've picked it up the most recently, and
Yes.
your clubs are starters.
It's not a
at clubs.
disrespectful
Yeah,
Your technology
observation.
So the question to you is: you get 2 years from now, so the spring of 2024, 2025 would be your year.
Okay.
You can pick 2 golfers of any league, anything you want, where they're going to help you, but then you also get their full training staff. So like if you pick Justin Johnson, you get his trainer, his caddy, and all that.
Okay.
At one point in 2025, you have to play a full 4 rounds of golf and shoot below par. Do you think that you have the ability to do that? Or do you think it's just...
Am I like playing golf every single day?
Yeah, you get 2
I'm
years. You're training with Dustin Johnson, or like you get to pick your 2 golfers. So whoever you want. I don't know if you know that many golfers, but maybe me and Andrew can help you on that if you're not a...
Yeah, no,
Scotty Scheffler, 100%. I would be picking his staff.
I like Bryson DeChambeau.
Sure, go for it.
I just want to be a big hitter.
I just want to be.
He wants to bring out the
breaking
big
it.
stick.
Like,
Bryson won. He won the Masters. Was it 1 year? No, the U.S. Open. He won.
U.S. Open, yeah. So Bryson's your one guy, and then you got another guy?
dude, Tiger Woods, man, that guy.
That
guy he got.
I would have thought, like,
He was a
to
golfer
me, it would
when he came
have
back.
been a power guy, and then a guy who's just clutch.
Yeah, I would have gone Spieth and Tiger as well for mine.
No,
But
that's
go ahead,
nice.
Bob. Go ahead. So you think you could do it?
If I'm like every day, this is all like this is my career. I'm doing it every day. I think it's possible. There is a possibility.
But just remember, it's all 4 rounds. It's a weekend tournament, and you're playing a PGA level. Like you're playing from
You're
the
playing
tips.
at. Let's pick a course. Augusta.
Oh yeah,
The
Masters
You
coming
are
up
playing
next
in
week.
the Masters.
So you're playing at the Masters, and you're playing from the professional tip. So like
I'm-
your par 5s are going to be long. Your par
I'm saying
3s are
it
220.
could be
Is
a
he getting?
possibility.
Is he getting the club tuning and everything too? Custom fitted?
Yeah, he gets custom fitted clubs.
Okay, that's a big help for you.
Yeah,
That's a
I
big
would say-
help.
I'm not
It's a
throwing him out
possi-
there with his starter set of top plate clubs.
My top.
Yeah, that's like playing with a handicap.
But you have to use the noodle. That's the ball you have to use. Is the noodle. No. You get to use tour level stuff.
Yeah.
I
think
would
you can do
say,
it?
And you
it's
do get a
possibility.
caddy. You get a caddy. So they're going to help.
They'll help you.
True. I would have it. I would pick one of you guys as my caddy. Yeah.
That was
I
a
would take a
terrible
professional
choice.
caddy, but I've helped you enough, Bob. I'll tag along. Actually, no, I'll take it. If you win, I get a bonus. But you're not.
It's a possibility, but it's a small one. I don't think. I would lean more towards no. I don't think I would be able to hack it.
That's fair.
These guys have been playing all their lives, but
You
Well,
don't
I'm
have
not
to
saying
win.
you
You
have
just
to win.
have to
You just
average
go
below par.
below par.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
4 straight rounds of golf. So
Oh.
if game 1, round 1, you go plus 10, that means for the next 3, you have to get minus 11.
Oh, dude, I think I could do it. If you gave me 2 years to practice and I got to like go to Augusta and like play it.
You do get to do. They do a practice round, so yeah.
Okay.
We'll give you a 9-hole practice round before.
I think I can do it. I can say under par.
You want to try to guess a score? Like just barely under par? Or you think you
I
go
would
like,
say barely under par. Like
1 or 2 under.
1 or 2 under.
do you
If I
know
was-
guys who've been playing this for like 18 years sometimes shoot like plus 12 at Augusta?
I'm saying if you gave me 2 whole years, I'm practicing every day, eat, sleep, golf, all I do, I think I could do it.
Okay.
What do you? Because I asked this question to Andrew because I know we're trying to think of more like hypothetical questions, and I asked this to Andrew, and Andrew goes, "I for sure know the answer," but then he never told me. So do you think you could do it?
No.
No.
I don't think I could do it, and I'm better at golf than you, Bob.
But you eat, sleep,
yeah, no, I'm aware.
all you do is golf.
No, I totally
To
get
me,
that.
it doesn't like if you're telling me like we're going to Fountain Hills and then like I play like consistently and like oh for sure I'm going under par there, but like this is at a tour that like I then have to be that level.
And I had to do
And-
it with the spectators, with another pro golfer playing alongside me. I know myself. I think I can get 25 rushing yards because I'm fast, and I think I could fall my like kind of flukily get that accomplished. There is to me, and come at me, people, if you want, but to me, there is way more finer details and skill required for this golf one than just rushing for 25 yards. I don't think personally I have the ability to break par at Augusta. Even with 2 years training with Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth, and my whole life is that, I don't know if I have it in me to get there in front of thousands of people and pull this off for 4 days.
Andrew ain't got the dog in him. That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
He ain't got the
I mean,
dog in him.
and I know you don't, so I don't want. I've golfed with you enough
Well,
times.
listen, if we ever
Yeah,
make
but
it-
he hasn't had 2 years of training.
If we ever make it big, one of us is going. We're all going to train with whoever we pick and we
Yeah,
can do this. This
yeah,
is a
if
whole
we-
competition.
That's
If we ever
that's a
make it
pipe
big-
dream. So,
So
you know,
please.
Titleist, Callaway, if you want to sponsor the podcast, we could turn this into a golf show if we really wanted to. Just let us know. I don't think you can do it, Bob, and I don't think I can do it, and I don't think Nick can do it.
Whoa.
Whoa, speak for yourself.
There
All
are
right.
guys who have. There are
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
This guy's been playing their whole
there's
life.
guys
And
whose lives have been that, and they cannot do it.
Augusta's a tough course.
Augusta's difficult. 2 years to me is not enough time to make me able to keep up with the best golfers in the world. Maybe I can get under par for a couple of rounds, but I don't think I'll consistently do it for 4 rounds.
Yeah, because I think
If
one
you were
round.
going to give me
I
one
think
round,
you
I'm
can-
going to say yes.
Yeah,
To
you
do
get
it 4
fluky.
times, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, no. That's
Don't second guess yourself. Stick to your guns.
Yeah,
No,
you
you
can
can
do
do
it.
it. You
Dog
can
in you?
do it.
You got-
I
Bob.
think
Come on,
I got
Bark.
that
Let's
dog
hear
in
that
me.
dog. Let's hear that dog real quick.
I'm not gonna do that.
I knew.
That ain't me, Chief. That ain't me.
So if you can't do that, you don't got that dog in you, Bob.
Come
Come on, just give us a little rough.
give me like a good couple beers before I go out there.
Yeah,
There's nothing
sure.
against that, you know.
But you can't drink on the. while
Yeah,
you're
but he's
playing.
before.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
the
I'm gonna
clubhouse.
just
Get the nerves.
yeah, just
Just
get
give us
the
a
nerve
bark.
out of the
Liquid
way.
courage.
Yeah,
Give us a
dude.
bark. If you bark right now like a dog, like a mean dog, I will say you can do it.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing.
So you don't got that dog in you,
Wait,
because if you
alright.
did, it would be itching
This
to come out.
sparks a follow-up question. You're about to set off on the 4th day. You're even par, which means you have to just go -1.
Okay.
You're putting your 2 beers down before you start. Are you going Michelob's?
Ooh.
Or like
For those who don't know what a
And-
Michelob is,
In a
Michelob Ultra.
in a warm weather climate.
You
I
don't
think-
drink those anymore, Bob.
Yeah, no. Last time I threw them up. Listen, don't.
Bobby's just like, give me 2 shots, Jose Cuervo Gold. Just put them in, just both. Both
Yeah, I think I'm cranking back Coronas with a lime.
with a lime.
If they
Premiers?
don't have
Premier?
one,
Just
no,
Coronas?
regular Corona.
Yeah, he goes full carb.
Going back to the roots. I get it. I like it.
Exactly.
You ever had lime
put
in
on-
Corona or lemon?
No, I've never had
It's a weird taste. Not too bad, but like lime is for sure preferred.
it. You know what I really
We'll
like?
get some Corona with limes next week then.
Yep. Bud Light lemonade.
But lemonade is good.
It was
Interesting.
good, man.
Interesting. I didn't know they did that. I'll have to try
Gosh,
that.
Yeah.
we need to. You know how we did mailbag?
summer.
We just needed people to send in their drink because it's starting to start to
Yeah.
get warm in here. Where
Yeah.
you need some drinks. They just need to
Yeah,
send in
yeah, I
what we should
like that.
drink.
Give us
Yeah.
your drink suggestions.
People are
That's
just
what we'll
When it gets to the point where you're just sweating sitting here,
Yeah.
we're
People are
you
gonna
can
be
need an
sending-
ice cold. Insert your beverage of choice here.
People are gonna be sending in. Oh, I don't know if I want to spend $12
Bloody
on
Mary.
that 4-pack. Just,
They're
can
gonna-
you guys drink it and let me know if it's
You're gonna
good?
hit us with Bloody Mary and be like, not fucking happening.
Oh no, I
won't-
hate
I-
tomato. I hate tomato soup. I hate.
That's
I
not
enjoy
happening.
soup. Bloody Marys don't know.
Would you eat it without grilled cheese though?
No, it's not a soup that gets consumed without the grilled cheese.
I've had tomato soup without it, but like it's like pre-meal. Like I can't just sit down for a
Okay,
meal of
alright.
tomato
Yeah.
soup without anything following it.
It's just
No.
weird. It's not
It's a
natural.
snack. It's an appetizer.
But
Yeah.
before we get down this rabbit hole here, I think that's a great place for us to wrap up the episode. So as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. We hope you like what you heard. If you did, please give us a follow, share us on social media. We're Garage Talk Sports. You can find us on every platform, really. Hope you like what you heard, and we will talk to you next week.
Yeah.
See ya.